You are very. This is why you're the analyst, and I'm the dum-dum that just says what's on the screen. Okay?
I am also dum-dum.
Okay. Well, I think you're supposed to talk yourself up now that we've talked ourselves down.
I am very smart.
That's another story. Okay, HELLBEAR Smashers versus Team NIGMA, 1-1 in a best of 3. Whoever wins this stays in the upper bracket. Whoever loses goes to the lower bracket. Again, saying the very obvious things for anybody that has looked at a bracket at any point in the last month, because it's the same format. It's for TI quals. Cinderin, are you excited?
Battle.
I'm excited, and I think, honestly, NIGMA fans, in my opinion, have a lot to be excited in this game, because I think in isolation, if you disregard what they're against, I really like how their lineup looks with itself. This is the kind of strategy that I really like in this patch. It's a high-tempo mid-hero. NIGMA do this the best when they have Miracle and Invoker, but that's getting banned every game. But they put him on this Ember Spirit, so he can play fast. They have the Nyx as well. They set up their team fight really nicely with Chains in this game. It's great for Sunray, it's great for Timbersaw, it's great for Terrorblade to kill heroes. So I'm very... I'm feeling more confident in NIGMA in this game, and I think maybe, I don't know, I don't want to analyze too much based on the 2 games they've played, but I feel like they might have figured something out based on how those last 2 games went. Even though the last one was a win, they're making some, in my opinion, great adjustments.
I see lots of good digging
for
spots out
Smashers,
there.
I don't know about Mid Mirana, man. I'm not sure what to make of it. I barely ever see this hero played in that role, so we'll see if Bornea can pull out some magic. Apart from that, their lineup looks solid. Again, Ace with the last pick PL, like the panel pointed out, probably a worse PL game than one.
ILTW, he's the one that chooses death at the beginning of the game. Dragon Tail, the first blood goes to Ace. That was a double smoke from each respective side, Cinderin. We talked about last game that we don't see it very often. We see it here. Neither team ran into each other initially, but the patience, Smashers, very nicely done.
It did pay off, but at the same time, look at Rasmus here. He actually has to TP to his lane now. This is what we talked about, right? When you fight that late on the runes, you are, you're susceptible to this happening. He's now TP top, so if they realize this, they can just swap lanes if they think it's good for them. They know now, okay, Dragon Knight's definitely top. He doesn't have TP. He uses mana, so we could get that Timber matchup if we wanted to again. For now, they are electing to stay in their lanes, though. So good pressure on Tofu. Actually, skilling Ikura's dive. Kuro, they were not expecting that.
Yeah, very unusual, but ends up netting him the kill, so nicely done.
It's so rare on Phoenix level 1 now.
So I know you found this Mirana mid weird. The panel was talking about how Bornea is kind of known for this from time to time.
Yeah.
I need to understand it. I'm guessing part of it was the leap aspect to be able to kill egg at some point. There's got to be some part of it. They have Dragon Tail into arrow. Like, I see the setup, but the hero mid is very weird. What are your theories about, like, what do you think about this matchup? Start things on Ember versus Mirana.
That's probably the primary reason we don't see very much mid Mirana, right? Is that it just doesn't really have any very good matchups. Hero has relatively weak base stats. The attack animation is not great, so I think Miracle's just going to have a great time in this lane. I don't see Mirana, like, basically ever winning here. She can probably draw. And also, a lot of these ranged versus mid matchups, historically, ranged heroes do very well, but now that there's more water runes and everything, a lot of melee heroes are actually thriving, just getting those runes all the time. And Ember is going to be able to push the lane with Flame Guard and get water rune every time when he wants. I'm going to grab him right now, as a matter of fact. And yeah, I don't know. I think Smashers were digging a little bit deep. They wanted to pick a Bornea hero so that they could last pick the carry. So it was between either, what were his options there? It was Mirana or
Good for you.
There was one other hero he plays a lot that was still in the pool. Lina was still there. So they could have grabbed the Lina, but he would have picked it into Nyx. Really hard matchup. When they had it in game 1, Nyx was banned first pick.
I mean, early on, Miracle is definitely favored right now. Has an 8 CS lead, but I mean, at what point, like from Bornea, what are you looking for? You're just looking to survive the lane until you can get these combos off. You're looking for a rotation from, I mean, it's not like DK can come early, right? And the only other potential setup is the Bushwhack.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to get some sort of value out of this arrow setup. like close to the end of the laning stage.
For sure.
From the catch-up, at least.
I don't think you try to win mid by killing there. I think you focus on using the Mirana to enable the team rather than the other way around. Rotating on mid is just too hard in this game. Don't bother. Let Mirana get levels, let Mirana get some farm, and hopefully for her she can find a connection on Dragon Tail in the top lane on a Terrorblade kill. Which is one thing Mirana's pretty good at, is killing Terrorblade early on. She has a lot of magic damage. So Fu will die. Kuro and Mind Control finding that. Mind Control the 0-2-2 build here.
He is very tanky. Alright, what do you think of PL then? I mean, there's some options. They talked about Wraith King. I know that Juggernaut isn't picked, but it felt like an okay Juggernaut game, especially if you want to play at a very high pace. Good egg killer, good for high pace, and I think it's actually not that bad against TV these days because of the shard.
Against Terrorblade late game.
Yeah. But they picked PL.
Yeah.
They did win game 1.
They did. Like we said, it's probably a worse game for the hero, but you know, you look at your pool, you look at your player, and you ask. And you're like, okay, what do you want to play here? What do you think is best? And I'm with you. I think Jugger could have also been good, but I can't say with confidence that it would have been a better choice. The good thing about Jugger here is Healing Ward is very good in this game against something like Timbersaw and Phoenix, but and the Juggernaut eventually, this is very counterintuitive, I think, to a lot of people. In my opinion, Juggernaut is actually one of the best late game carries against Terrorblade. But the reason we're so hardwired to think of Terrorblade as a Jug counter is that you go back a year and people were counterpicking Jug with Terrorblade and just running him over in the mid game. But with the new shards, with new talents, with new items, balance has just shifted a bit where I think Jugger can actually... We saw that at the Major in the game even. That was a Juggernaut late game that just bodied Terrorblade. Late we have the steal here.
GH top lane. Yeah, I didn't think they would have enough damage, but with the 2 levels of Bushwhack and Acorn Shot was just enough.
Yep.
We're seeing the 1 level of Brief Fire right now.
Here, good pressure.
All right.
Actually in trouble possibly here. Oh, good bounce back on that. That's
not quite there, but the one more right click will do it, and the vision from Rasmus ensures that they get that kill. So 2 kills here in the top lane for Smashers. That is very, very good news.
And that was basically a 50-50. That Acorn Shot had to bounce back to Terrorblade not on the creep to get the kill, and Gilgir rolls a natural 6. Wait, that's not a good roll, is it? He rolls a 6.
I don't know anything about D&D. I'm sorry. Everybody
I know something about regular dice. 6 is good in most cases.
Yes, I think so. The 1 is bad. That's the snake eyes.
So forced to TP out bottom.
Yeah, they're just continuing to just spam out the ILTW in terms of the magic damage, which is what you have to do at this stage of the game. But back to mid lane. I mean, look at the CS. I don't know how much of this is actually jungle creeps, but Bornea only 6 CS behind.
The prize is mine. Middle tower
but he's pretty 500 networks behind, though.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's pretty significant, actually. But at the very least, he's not out-leveled horribly. I mean, I was expecting this to be just absolutely awful. So, here at the Smash, Bushwhack onto the illusion and the tree as well. Top lane, seeing the damage come through. Cold Feet actually procs as well. Now the TP's come in, so it might cost Rasmus his life, but he'll take this any day of the week. In fact, it takes Miracle TP as well.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Get the Bushwhack, but it's not really going to prevent anything. So it's a 1-for-1. But this leaves Mind Control in the bot lane just to fend for himself here. And he has pushed Ace completely out of lane.
PL is not coming back down.
Middle tower is under attack.
If anyone goes to sit bottom, it's Hoodwink. Alright, giving the tip to Mind Control here. Good job, buddy. You picked Timbersaw, I guess.
Middle tower's in trouble. Which one died?
Yeah, I can see.
There's just a Timbersaw pushing a tower. This is pretty standard building. Nothing crazy here.
I have hung around Misery enough to know. I mean, I don't know how much he's changed over the years, but he would be complaining about somebody picking Timbersaw. So. Unless it's us with Moo picking Timbersaw at TI every game, then that's fine. Well, that's not so. Yeah, the tier 1 tower is able to be taken out by Team NIGMA, and then the other side, Smashers, applying some pressures at half HP right now. Rasmus not quite level 6, but still has done a significant amount of damage to this tower. He's getting another Dragon Tail off. He's just spamming this in left, right, and center.
Actually dead for this, I think.
Yeah, that's TP support. Oh, Bushwhack onto 2 again. GH gets the Impale off in the meantime, though. Kuroki, level 4, gets off the Fairy Fires. Rasmus is running around in circles. So with the rotation of Mind Control, you have to think that it's inevitable death here for Rasmus. I wonder if a TP comes out. That's the real question, Cinder. Who TP's whom here? This dies to the hands of Kuroki, as usual. And no tips at all, so really disappointed.
He is forcing some movement, at least with this, but it did feel a little bit overzealous to try to go for that stun under the tower in that situation. Enigma very quick with the punish, but with obviously mind control rotating up there, this now gives Ace a little bit more space to work with down here, because now he has access to the free players. He's going to farm waves plus hard camp every minute. Probably even get the small dead as well. Another kill.
Near that triangle there, another bushwhack into the arrow this time. Looks like GH can take the brunt of the damage there, but not a whole lot of damage to speak of. As Nyx is going to take a tumble, so it's a 1-for-1 across the lanes here. Now Rasmus, I mean, he has a 3-level deficit if you compare the off lanes here. That is pretty gigantic. I mean, can't be too surprised, I guess, although at this stage, Misery maybe a little lower than you would hope for.
Here comes Dire's plucky little courier. Oops, it's dead now.
Except Dragon Tail now, though.
Yeah, I guess it's also a bit expected, right? If you consider how early mind control is left alone, he will get a bigger experience. Like, he just has more experience to draw from than Rasmus, so it's not like he just destroyed the lane way harder than him. But I think at this point, you would ideally like to be level 7 as DK. So he's definitely slowed down a bit. But he gets that 6 there for Dragon Tail. Obviously, this makes for a very easy arrow setup like we've talked about now with the range setup from DK. Mind control is killable. He doesn't have anything for his hood just yet, so Mirana and Dragon Knight actually pack quite the punch. Hopefully Ice Blast comes in with the Tome in at 10. Need to give Topher a little bit of space for that to be the case, though. He's only level 4 and a third, which is very low. Not even bridging the gap to 6 with the Tome. They're gonna try to kill
gonna get bushwhacked here, and the arrow to follow, and all the extra damage thanks to the Ice Vortex. More than enough. Yeah,
very easy.
Kill. Now Rasmus might be able to just solo this tower if there's no PV support on the way.
Denying the rune is there.
Gets the bushwhack off again.
Tower's under attack.
Hey, I don't know if he's missed the bushwhack in all 3 games. He's played the same hero, so he's got the practice.
Dire's putting a hurt on Radiant's middle tower.
I'm impressed though.
Dire's top tower
I'm really
might be
impressed with
going
this play on this
down.
hero. We saw a lot of games with the major, and it was just, you know, it was a hit or a miss, but a lot of underwhelming games. I feel like consistently throughout these 3 games, he has been on point.
He's been good, for sure. I definitely see why they value it this much when doing it like this. And I think overall, oh, good arrow. Anything on that though. So just Nigma trying to take advantage of the siege creep plus Timber Saw. Very classic thing to do when you have Timber. All right, there's the bushwhack miss, Shannon. You got it.
Yep. Caster Curse. Thank you very much. Wait, did he get the item? That's the real question. Will he be 3 for 3?
Not yet.
How many do they have left?
They're not getting it. Oh, that's a problem.
No. Can they win without it? The real question. Bornea getting bursted, but will leap to safety. Mind control creating as much space as possible. With GH's help. Get the intel on Gilgert. It doesn't look like Shotgun does connect here. Ace is here. A black to follow to the Sunray's going to do absolutely nothing. That is the 2nd death from Mind Control after he got up to such a good start. So huge kills.
You're just not safe on Timber in this game. There's a couple of things that are really nasty. You're playing into Ice Blast and you're playing into Hoodwink's ultimate burst. Timbersaw generally considered a counter to Hoodwink because it cuts all the trees, so it's hard to hit bushwhack, but when it comes to it, if you have other ways of setting up the stun, then you're not so reliant on the trees, right? They're going to just Dragon Tail, then they're going to arrow, and then they're going to Hoodwink ult. They won't even need the bushwhack if the other guys set him up. And Mind Control really needs to... You know, I don't... It makes sense he thinks he's that tanky. He just isn't. Because usually Timber at this point, with a hood and a wand, feels very tanky. But he dies in a Dragon Tail. His heroes are there, and you just... No save available. Phoenix heal doesn't matter. It's also only level 1, actually. Koro with the mechs. A lot of the time we see 1-2-4, but he's 1-4-1. Perhaps partly because of the AA matchup.
The rune of
Prioritizing the damage.
Miracle's working on a Maelstrom for himself. Not a huge surprise considering he's going against a PL this game. And obviously it's going to help his form quite a bit. Now the real question is, what's Bornea going to go for? He's going for Dragon Lance right now. He has to expend 2 weeks already. A blast comes out, but Tofu is going to take a tumble.
Arrow?
Arrow connected as well, but he's
I keep getting excited over arrows. There's just no one there.
Yeah. So they don't really... I mean, without the AA blast, in addition to a couple of heroes, they're not going to be able to force anybody down. Do you have any clue what the build is for Mirana? It looks like a right-click build.
Tower had a run-in with the Dire.
Yeah, I think he's going to go Dragon Lance Maelstrom, probably.
Bolt, Impale. Ace, he does have Doppelganger onto the other side of the cliff. Miracle gets the ensnare off, but not a whole lot of follow-up, so we'll get the one.
He's top net worth, actually, PL. After that start bot, Ace has been doing a really good job of finding farm.
Your place.
Miracle.
Don't look good.
Yeah, Ace also did a good job of finding the possessed mask in the jungle. That'll help his. I mean, like you said, he had to get into the jungle at level 5, right? So not exactly the best jungle hero for sure. At that stage.
The prize is mine.
Bornea. Alright, now he knows that Spike Carapace is on cooldown. Not able to get the arrow off again. No real connection. His farm is okay,
BKB.
but not compared to Miracle. Miracle's doing quite well.
So I suppose Mirana has a pretty big power spike on level 15 as a core with right clicks because you get 75 attack speed from leap from the talent, and you get 15 damage on 10. Just instinctively looking at this item build, Dragonlance into BKB, I feel like this hero does not do that much damage, but I'm ready to be surprised. Like I said, not very popular right now. And that could also catch NIGMA off guard, you know? That's something that they're not very familiar with playing against in this current patch. There's a little bit of an X factor there.
Yeah, he has the shard queued up as well, so that gives him an extra leap, and it gives him a critical strike, a 1.5 critical strike during, I don't know how, I guess it's during the whole duration of the leap buff itself. It's Nana gets initiated on, but he is he's good to go. How long is the buff, actually? Say in the
2.5
tooltip.
seconds.
Oh, there it is, yeah. Wow.
Oh,
2.5 seconds, and you get 4 leaps, and you get a 1.5 crit.
Yeah, and it's a
Sounds
guaranteed
pretty good.
crit, right?
Yeah.
Every attack.
That's the way that I read it. Is that
That's
it's
pretty
guaranteed.
decent, actually. Yeah. It's not bad. Oh, ILTW. He is out.
Refuse good.
Radiant are scanning for enemies.
No need to get excited, Synderen. Good effort. 2K net worth lead here, though, for Team NIGMA. But you're right, the BKB right out of the gate, basically, as a dragon, is quite interesting.
This is my shot.
Ace is getting initiated in the triangle again. TPs are coming in, though. Ace got dusted, it looks like, but it's initiated from Rasmus this time. 3 heroes moved up here on the side of Team NIGMA. As the egg is popped, can they kill it? There's the lead, and with the right click from Mirana, that is more than enough, but it might cost him his life. He's gonna turn around with the ice splash, just hit everybody. Miracle now on the range. He's gonna be shattering here pretty soon. A 3-for-1, it just cost Rasmus his life. He'll take that any day of the week. I didn't know that interaction. Bushwhack, Timber Chain? Did you see that?
Yeah, it apparently works like that.
That is very weird. Is that not a stun, technically?
It's kind of like Yules, where if you Yule after throwing Timber Chain, you break the Yule, and you also break offensive Yules. I don't know why it works like that with Bushwhack, because technically he's stunned to a tree, but I guess just that minimum bit of movement he does when stunned in the chain separates him from the tree, and when you're not onto the tree as hoodwinked, it obviously stops the stun, so...
Huh.
I don't know, it's a bit weird to me, but...
That one feels
I'm just gonna have
like...
to accept this and move on.
I remember that cartoon. That was good stuff. DOTA reporter. That does feel like a bug, though. I know there's a couple interactions with Twitter where people were like, they could just keep that as a feature, probably. So we're going to see Team NIGMA doing the Smashers jungle. Ace is going to spot this out, though. Yeah, they see Miracle. They're going to apply their pressure to them to start with, but GH gets something in him, but the A blast comes in, connecting onto 2. So you can see the Ace taking the brunt of the damage along with Rasmus on that whirling death. But PL is dead just like that, in addition to the AA. So we're playing up on the Phoenix, though. So 3-for-1, actually. My goodness, Rasmus. He got out of there, but control.
Great Sunray from Coral. That was really impactful. I think he had it on 2 enemies and 2 allies the whole time. And that choke point, Phoenix very, very good with that Sunray. And they're gonna reap their reward with a tier 2 tower. ILTW just untouched.
Radiant's bottom tower must have been dizzy.
Job done. So Mirana had a double damage in that fight, and she did a lot of damage with that. So she can definitely deal damage.
Bushwhack into the arrow mid-turf. Mr. Miracle is dead. The A-blast connected on LTW, but the sharpshooter will not end up hitting him this time around. Pretty big kill, though, after a really bad fight for Smashers. Rasmus pop that Dragon Form. Might find Kuroki here. They get the nice stun. Yeah, great layering from Smashers again. He's turning into a tier 1 tower.
Yes, I was going to say a little bit earlier that it's problematic for Smash how far behind Rasmus is falling in this game. He has 6k net worth. And the reason that's an issue is they rely a lot on him to set up and ideally get multiple stuns in the fight, but it feels without a BKB, if he jumps in and stuns afterwards, he's gonna die to stun ray, he's gonna die to timber saw. Oh boy, that's hoodwink. Was there a moment ago?
100 to 0. Goodness gracious.
Did you hear my dog barking?
Sure didn't. My boy Onion at it again.
You didn't?
Huh? No.
Oh, nice.
Oh, Onion, hi for me. Appreciate his presence.
A bit busy right now, so can't say hi to the dog.
Maybe you can get him to catch you next game, but I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah, Rasmus sees GH.
Yeah, they're gonna get the Dragon Tail into the Ice Blast, easy peasy, like you said. Miracle does have a Remnant out, so like he'll be fine. Unless they can get that crazy somehow. But it looks like it, again, I haven't seen this Mirana firsthand, but it does feel like this timing of BKB into Shard is kind of the go time. And we'll see how powerful.
Great so far. He's 5-0-6. He has decent farm. My primary concern is his ability to win late game against Terrorblade and Timbersaw, but if he can keep up this pace, he might just get there. Very, very excited to see how this pans out, especially the 15 pound, how much that matters. Yeah, good stuff. BKB is complete and 200 gold for Ania. And how we're looking for Rasmus. So he's far away from his. 3k to go for his BKB. And it's just so important. We've seen a couple of fights this game. He blink stuns, and then the punish from Phoenix Timber is just instant. You can get caught in the next stun as well. So just be very careful with how he approaches fights.
Power ain't looking too steady.
Mind Control actually picking up a Heaven's Halberd. You don't get to see that every day. Obviously really good against Mirana if you can get in range, and Doppelganger does not dispel it, so a good way to tell which the real PL is, I guess. Evasion is always nice. In fact, they don't really have any heroes. I mean, there's a Butterfly being built by LTW as well. Don't really want to buy MKB on anybody. Like maybe Mirana, like much later in the game? It's like she relies on...
I think Mirana doesn't mind buying MKB too much, because she has so good attack speed, right? She get a lot of procs.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's just one hero, though. You know, PL's still that hero. Dragon Knight's not going to get anything like that. He's just a setup stun, essentially, at this stage. Yeah, I think I definitely agree with you. I am really excited to see if this Mirana... I'm kind of rooting for it, just because it's not a hero we get to see so often. At all. And if we do, it's a support, right? Yeah. Oh, Gilgar getting spotted out.
Gilgar is really high level. He's level 13. GH is level 9. Super high level on this hoodwink in this game.
Ooh, Courier.
Courier
Dead. Very dead Courier. Bushwhack onto 2, but the spike carapace ends up stunning him in turn. Arrow doesn't connect there. The break is now the GH. Rasmus trying to do as much damage as he can from the sideline. It's a buyback on the hoodwink though. Bornia not able to leap to the high ground to finish off the Nyx assassin. Just gonna get beat down by these illusions in the meantime.
Prepare for
Rasmus needs to just reset here. Ace from afar has the shard now. The illusions are gonna be much more annoying with that spirit lance. Getting chased. Another great bushwhack stun, but Ace is just gonna get bursted down in the end. Didn't have another doppelganger to work with. Edge is on the high ground, but I think they're too far away. Rasmus is getting right click from afar. Or Ania, no leap to speak of. If they can find this kill, this will be enormous. That'll be it. So it's a 2-for-1. It only costs them a support. Now they can beat onto this tier 2.
They got the Nyx with, I think, the final 6 Ice Blast. We're looking very close to the end. They do get that, but really, really good force start from Pearl. Cool item choice as well. Like, it's a way of solving the Bushwhack problem. You don't see this item bought first on Phoenix very often, but he gets this ability to disconnect the combos that Progress Metal are trying to do with Hoodwink Stun into Arrow, Dragon Tail into Arrow, and Ice Blast. So basically that 1-4-step last fight, I think it made the Arrow miss and the Ice Blast miss on the Terrorblade that they were trying to kill. So good foresight. I really like the choice this game.
And from Bornia's side, he is still a bit away from finishing the shard. And we have yet to even see a Roche attempt here. It's later than we would normally see, but neither team crazy Roche takers by any stretch of the imagination. LTW just going for the basic crit build. We've been seeing that basically every game from TP. one way or another. Although I feel like we see Scotty ahead of that most of the time.
Never refuse gold.
Not the case this time. Doesn't it feel like a Scotty?
Ahead of the Daedalus and Terrorblade, you mean?
Yeah. Isn't it Scotty into Daedalus?
Yeah. It usually is Scotty. Like, I think the most common build is probably Manta into Scotty, and then you either get Satanic or Butter, and then you get Daedalus. But I've seen some Terrorblades lately prioritize getting that high damage burst earlier in the build to really ride the momentum of how strong Metamorphosis is. I'm not completely sold. Like, he's putting a lot of faith into Kuro to always get the Force Staff, because he gets 100 to 0'd here if he gets caught by a combo, right? With this build, you don't have the safety of the health from the Scotty or the Satanic when you go like this. So let's say he gets Dragon Tail, Arrow, Ice Blast, he's just done. So they really have to have Kuro in a good position around the Terrorblade. So far, it worked well last fight, so maybe his call is, you know what, I trust you, we got this. Keep protecting me with the Phoenix and I'll be... Personally, I kind of don't like it. I would rather see the Scotty, because I think damage is not the problem for NIGMA right now, and it's more of a safety thing, getting Scotty here. But if he gets Sunder off, I think they win the fight, right? So he just needs to survive, and if he starts fighting someone with Scotty, I still think they have enough damage with him, Timber, as well as Ember. Plenty of damage coming out of the NIGMA heroes.
Yeah, I mean, we saw a lot of this AA versus TB matchup, and it works both ways, right? Because Sunder, obviously a good counter to the Ice Blast since it does work. But at the same time, the burst damage, the whole idea of AA, it's not just about the healing reduction, but just using that in combo with something to burst them down from 100 to 0, which TB, that's his biggest fear, right? That's why Zeus is such a good hero. Although we don't really see, we actually did see one game at the major. Or is that ESL? Either way, it worked out really well. It was
at the major.
Worked out really well and destroyed TB, but I agree. I'm a little surprised he's not going for more stats base. But we'll see how it works. Let's see.
Bornea is 500 away from that shard. I'm mainly curious to see what he queues up after it. I think it's going to be MKB.
Yeah, I think it has.
So he can deal with Terrorblade better.
They're going to 5-man smoke into the Moonlight Shadow, the classic combo. See if they can find anybody on top of this. So looking for the Dragon Tail initiation into Arrow or the Bushwhack. A little bit separated right now. Razman, yeah, they can't figure out which way they want to go. Bushwhack onto the, yeah, they have to show themselves now.
Good read from NIGMA, they know exactly.
They
did actually Moonlight Edge under that ward, right? Top ward.
Oh, shot from on top of him. Razman, of course, like you said, does not have the BKB, so he might just get bursted down. That is a super easy kill, and just like they don't have your offlaner, but he does have buyback available. Of course, without Dragon Form, though, how much use are you? See the Sharpshooter used by Gilgar to try to get a little extra space again. Looks like it might be successful. Oh, Sleight of Fist was there. The chains. No, not gonna happen. They only get one, but it might cost get the cost of motion.
Big prize is Big Boy. Big Boy's dying very fast.
Big juicy boy.
That's one thing about having this pistol from Terrorblade, which is the attack roach, so it obviously makes it a lot easier and faster. Yeah, good read from NIGMA. I think the top ward that they have placed that's about to expire now, they've given the vision that it's coming, and they just come to the
BKB has to be popped by Bornea. The egg is there to try to save speed. That's getting quite a bit of it. It's going to be enough with that 15 talent. They're going to get 2 kills on top of it. And now Tofu getting bursted down by mind control. Sharpshooter connects, but really to not much avail. Arrow connects as well, but not a whole lot of follow-up to speak of. Although Razman's going to be able to Dragon Tail. Ace looping up, but now the Chakram destroying Razman from 100 to 0. We talk about that all the time. He's such a good counter to the Dragon Knight. And just like that, it's a 2 for 2. Steps to the enemy base. Bushwhack, ooh, looks like it was going to connect there, but I think that was the Whirling Death preventing the trees from stunning them.
All right. They do trade there, but again, Dragon Knight is just being punished so hard. And a big problem that Smashers have in this game, I feel like you're really seeing the night and day between game 1 and game 3 here for how Phantom Lancer's game is. He's been relatively quiet. We're 26 minutes in. Ace he's 1, 2, and 4. Haven't really seen him do very much damage on his PL because he can't go in. And that's where it matters so much that there's other people in the fight that set something up, stay alive, and PL gets to wrap around and find a Phoenix or a Nyx or something that he just gets on, gets that free kill, and then snowballs from. Because his targets aren't great. Like, you don't want to go on Timber, so you're not going to kill that guy. Ember is too mobile and hard to cap. And the Terrorblade had Aegis, so in that fight, you're really, like, pick your poison, you know?
My shadow coming out.
I'm gonna get away. No detection.
Look at Rasmus's neutral item, by the way. He has a Philosopher's Stone. That's how bad his game is right now. Just needs to go with absolutely.
Nice juke from, or escape from Gilga here. Very good use of the sharpshooter to get to the low grounds. He's still dead. They found him.
He's only, alright. Scurry up in 2 seconds. He's only a level 14 in terms of DOTA clutch. I'm a little surprised by that. Well, I guess the hero hasn't been out that much. But there are some level 30s already.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
But he's played so well. Probably spams the crap out of his ILTW on the steps of the enemy base now. The meta is popped. Hoodwink is dead for 50 seconds. Absolutely no buyback. Want everything online for Team NIGMA. Rasmus still not able to have a BKB coming out yet. ILTW. Oh, gets arrowed. Better be careful here. Ice Blast to follow. Tests asunder a teammate. He does so onto Kuroki. Ice Blast ends up being wasted for the most part. Bornea has to go back to base now. Haven't really seen the leap into the crit strike yet. And oh boy, they get the stun up on the Phantom. Like, Ace is bursted.
So good GH. That Spirit Lance was not targeting Nyx, but the bounce from the shard went of GH into Carapace and then got a max range stun.
Yeah, that's rough.
Huge punish onto Ace, and this is a really big problem because they're probably going to be forced to buyback the PL here. Yeah, I don't think NIGMA has to go back. LTW with Aegis could still go hit.
Still has arrow, but you can tell they just don't want to go on mind control now.
Now they might just back off.
Aegis still in LTW. Still in melee form, obviously. Meta's not available for another 90 seconds, and looks like they're going to disengage. A-Blast with the Dragon Tail setup. Into the lead here, the crit, Cinderin! The crit! It's not really not that much, but... Yeah, he needs
good
another
participation award there. It's the You Tried medal for the right clicks for 200 damage, of which 70% gets blocked by Timber.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Yeah.
But once he gets MKB, is when it starts to
The rune of regeneration.
Yeah, then you still need to claw through a Timber with the halberd heart.
Yeah, you ignore him. That was definitely.
Yeah. This is looking really good for NIGMA. I feel like they came in a little bit cold in game 1, and then in game 2, still not super convinced with how they played and what they strategized, but this game, it just feels cleaner. Like, there's more control of the map, there's a more clear game plan, there's more structured team fights. And I really think so much of that comes from the fact that they have this secondary way of catching and poking and prodding with the Ember. That's not to say TA obviously stomped in game 2, like Miracle has played great today. Just from a Unity perspective of how their heroes play, the flow of the game just feels natural. How they move around. Really liking the progression in the series.
Within reach of this tier 3 tower mid, they get it pretty much right off the bat. Here's the Dragon Tail A combo connects onto A1 essentially though. ILTW blocks it off for now. They're gonna find the Hoodwink in the backside. There's that buyback. GH has the Aghanim Scepter. Talked about how he's getting heavily out-leveled. But he finds the farm. He helps out here quite a bit. He's just gonna get into burrow form right next to the barrack. Bushwhack again, the setup, but no A-Blast to follow. There's the Sunray with the egg on the back line, healing up the to a high degree. So much damage mitigation. Rasmus melts. And this is gonna be a second set of racks for Team NIGMA. And they still have Aegis. No, they don't. They do not have Aegis.
Radiant's
middle barracks
has fallen.
They look. That's what they were lacking there. The smashes on that go. It was actually a combo. Gilga got a 3-man stun with the Bushwhack, and then they connected Spirit Lance and some damage out of Bornea, but they didn't have the blast, so they got healed up by Sunray. There again, dodging away from Miracle. Gonna get healed up by Sunray once again.
It feels like without AA Blast, there's just no hope.
They don't have enough damage to get through that heal. So they either need to find the Phoenix with PL, so that Phoenix can't stand in the backlines and heal, or they have to Ice Blast combo. Really is the name of the game here.
Can you talk to me about this? So again, we had this discussion at the major, but Ace, he went Aether Lens. with the shard, which is kind of like, you know, you end up turning into an octarine at some point, and it felt like a meme when it first came out, but it was pretty effective. Why choose it this game and not the previous one? Is there, I might have to hold on to these thoughts here, but I'm interested to know like why this game.
I think his mindset here is he's having a harder time going in, so he's kind of a land spot. And with this item, you get the cast range and you get the mono region and mono pool, so you can keep throwing out lances. Like, let's say he was building up toward the Scotty instead. The Scotty has almost no value because he can't use it in the fight. He can't go in. I guess that's how he's thinking. This is how I do the most damage in the game, and I'm kind of with him on it. It's just, it really makes you question, was this a good pick to begin with, right?
Well, the FPS has gone down the tubes. That means meta has been pop syndrome. Yep, that was a meta. What caused my what was that? But that was a reflection then. Reflection on multiple heroes. Okay.
You have found a Nemesis match.
That's not true. Nobody does that. Nobody's playing that.
I actually like Nemesis.
Onto 3, they blow up ILTW. No buyback for him. GH stuck inside his burrow. Big potential fight here if they can get more out of this. Dragon Tail is going to connect, but Miracle's created a lot of space between him and HELLBEAR Smashers. Mind control out of mana completely. So it looks like they'll be able to clean him up at the very least. So a nice mini comeback here from HELLBEAR Smashers. But what can they turn this into?
It took them 20 seconds, 5v1. But they got it. All right, good hold. They were two lanes of barracks down, but that was a really good Ice Blast catch onto the Terrorblade. I'm not sure if Kuro wasn't able to force step him. I think he was stunned facing forward. So then obviously no way to get him out of trouble. And they pile on him. And that's a lot of gold going the way of especially Tofu and Borania. Borania is almost done with his MKB off of that. Be a turning point, but there's still so much to cover from them. They're really far behind. The next Roche would be big. He's spawning in 10 seconds, but no one is checking it. Tofu is kind of heading over.
Yeah, so they'll have about 20 seconds to take it before Timber's up, but
they can't.
They don't have a... I mean, I guess Mirana is starting to turn into a bit of a Roche killer. Feels... It's not the worst, but they wouldn't take it fast enough is what I'm trying to say. So Timber would be up anyway. So 11k net worth lead now for Team NIGMA, and they are definitely in the driver's seat. 2 racks advantage, and will likely look for a pick into Roche as GH has scouted out that Roche has indeed spawned. That is with the Aegis, Cheese, and Shard. They can find... They might just run into Roche and force this fight, actually. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Metas pop. Rasmus on the outskirts. Jumps in with the Dragon form and the Dragon Tail. Oh my god, Rasmus melts. Holy Jesus.
He was not ready to get stunned by Nyx there. He didn't think
Yeah, that was rough stuff. He buys back, but like we talked about, useless human form activated. And NIGMA know that. And there's creeps in the base right now, so we have to be pretty careful here. Miracle's gonna jump in. He gets the Dragon Tail though. He's gonna get pushed right into death. All right, 70 seconds on the deck. ILTW pops the BKB. That huge meta form. Still could go for Roche technically, but it's a 4v5 now. 4.5 versus 5. You're talking about the Dragon Knight. And control. He's gonna get full speed. Does proc it. And you can see the mana just getting burned slowly but surely by Ace and these illusions. GH.
That Ember Kill
looks like they're actually going to defend this. Oh.
Radiant's middle tower's not feeling the love.
Very nicely done. I was not expecting that. I mean, again, the creeps have beat down on this tier 4 tower. It's already at half HP for one of them.
Plenty of buffer. There's 1.5 towers left. They should definitely stay at Roche at all costs. Even AA, who could be tempted to go back and defend and then throw an Ice Blast, they need literally everything here. They need that magic damage increase.
It's just so hard though with GH in his burrow form. God, what an annoying hero to play against. Gets up the Spike Carapace, it's not really gonna do much. Impale onto 1 with Chakram to follow. This is so hard to take, especially when you don't really do that much damage right now.
And they can't confidently go on the heroes because they don't know if
now they're
base buyback.
Now they're base.
I think valiant effort from HELLBEAR's here to try to get the Roche, but
Perhaps trying to snag a little little something, but LCW ends up getting the Aegis, and the kill onto Hoodwink is very easy in the end. His Moonlight Shadowed. Should be okay.
Radiant's middle tower is under
Does
attack.
not have gem or anything, so
Radiant's middle tower has
be happy with that exchange for sure. As the shard was picked up, I think they already had the Sunray, right? I thought they had the Sunray. I think it's Ember Spear. Miracle picked it up. With Fire Remnant. Yeah, Rasmus dead. Just 70 seconds on the deck. 7-second BKB still available to use. But this is what happens when you're playing against GH in this next assassin. Okay, beautifully done. That is the Aegis. And Borania pops the BKB. You can see the crit coming out. He still has 2 loops to go. Uses 1 to retreat though. It's going to be a Spirit 3 tower at the very least. And you can see GH just continuing to heal in the midst of all this, getting surrounded by his teammates. That's basically a shield, but HELLBEAR smashes are starting to drop like flies. As building damage is just going to be too much. It's going to be mega creeps at the very least.
Barracks is falling. Dire now have mega creeps.
I'm going to rhyme that. GH gets the Impale, connects on the 1, and this is going to be it. So this ends up being 2 for 1 for Team NIGMA. I have to say, I mean, this game was a little bit more stompy, but Smashers and Games, they had an opportunity to take that game. Even though Miracle was owning on TA, they had their opportunity, but just slipped through their fingers. Down to the lower bracket.